Hi, this is Miss Pellegrin, and today we're looking at Module 2, Lesson 9, Applying the Properties of Operations to Add and Subtract Rational Numbers. So Lesson 9 is a continuation of Lesson 8, so we're going to continue looking at those properties, concentrating on the commutative property, and the associative property, as well as looking at the subtraction, rewriting it as addition. And so, again, without the use of a calculator. Okay, so, Okay, so in exercise 1, you're asked to unscramble the cards. So here's your cards to the right. Show the steps in the correct order, so you could number them. That this is the first thing that you would need to do, second, etc. And over to the left side, I have some of your properties. So we have the commutative, which is that you're changing your order. The associative, meaning you're regrouping, you're adding in a different order. Subtraction is the same thing as adding your inverse. And then the opposite of a sum is the sum of the opposite. So it's like your distributive property. That's just not the word. That's what I see when I see it. But I'm working towards getting better and training my brain to know it's the opposite of a sum is equal to its opposite. Okay. Whoops. Hold on one second. Okay. Sorry about that. It seems my tablet mode was not turned on, so I was continuing to press buttons. Okay, so you're pausing the video and try it on your own. A way that you might want to look at it is, what would you do first? That might be helpful for you to find your answers. Okay, so when I'm looking at this, I see there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that are happening here. So obviously, this is the last that we're getting one answer here. And so then right before that, it seems like it should be this. Okay, and then I get a little bit more numbers, so I need to kind of look at it. So we have 5 and 2/9 minus 8.1 plus 5 and 2/9. So that would mean that the first thing I should be doing is the opposite of a sum is the sum of the opposites. And so this will be a negative 8.1 and then plus a negative 5 and 2/9. So it would be both of the opposites. And so where do I see that? I see that right here, and it's still in the same order. So this is going to be step 1. So opposite of sum. You need to be able to explain your reasoning. Okay? After that, let's look at the other two that we have left. Here we have, they're just in a different order. Here we have it regrouped together. So I would say this is our second step. We're changing the order. So this is commutative property. And then this would come next. We're regrouping and we're putting this together first, which will give us 0, which is what we see here. And so this is the associative. There actually is a property that says when you're adding 0 plus a number, you get that number, and it's I think called the 0 property. Okay. And then these were an additive inverse, which is how you got 0. Okay, so examples 1 through 2 represent each of the following expressions as one rational number. Show and explain your steps. So again, I have put the steps to the side, the ones that we've been using. Okay, so our first step is that we have subtraction here. So the opposite of the sum of sums. So we have 4 and 4/7. So the opposite of 4 and 4/7 is that we're adding a negative 4 and 4/7. And the opposite here so sorry, first we're going to do changing that to addition. So the first thing that we're going to do is the sum. Subtracting is the same as adding the inverse. So adding the inverse. Okay. So, and explain your steps. Subtracting is the same as adding the inverse. Okay, after we do that, then we can say the opposite of a sum is the sum of its opposites. So we have the minus sign on the outside, so we're going to change it to addition. It's the same as adding the opposite of each. So the opposite of negative 10 is positive 10. Okay, so this is our opposite of sum. Equals the sum of the opposite. Okay. So after that, then I would say, okay, so this is positive 4 and 4/7. This is negative 4 and 4/7. So I want to put these together and do them first. You could put parentheses around this. I'm not going to put the parentheses around the negative 4 and 4/7, so I feel like that's just too many parentheses. So that's associative. We are regrouping. Which ones are we going to put together first? And so that gives me 0 plus 10 and number plus 0 equals, oh, never mind, that's not it. Number plus its opposite. Equals 0. In other words, additive inverse. And so then your answer there is 10. Okay, so let's look at the next one. Okay, so on this one, let's first think about what would our answer be for this. So I see 5 plus a negative 4 and 4/7. So I know they have different signs, so I'm subtracting. And I'm going to keep the sign of the greater absolute value. And so then my answer is going to be positive. But negative 4 and 4/7, that's very close to 5. So it's probably going to be a positive answer between 0 and 1. Okay, so let's see. So we can split this apart. 5 plus a negative 4 plus a negative 4/7. So we were showing our work first. Okay, so this isn't really where you see opposite. But we know we can break that apart that way, so I'm just going to say that they're equivalent. To negative 4 and 4/7. So then we have 5 plus a negative 4, which gives me a positive 1. So I was regrouping this. So this is the associative property. And keep everything else plus a negative 4/7. And so 1 is the same thing as 7 over 7 plus a negative 4/7. Signs are different, so we're subtracting 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. So that gives me 3/7. And it was going to be positive. Okay. Maybe we say something about the whole number. Or at 1. Sorry. 1 is equal to 7 over 7. Same as 1 is equal to 6 over 6. Whatever your denominator is makes it the easiest. So 3 and 3/7. Okay, so exercise 2 asks you to use teamwork in order to solve. And again, I've put the main ones that we've been looking at, our steps, to the side to help you. So what you're going to do is pink is going to go first. And so pink will say, okay, what am I going to do here first? And so I'll kind of go along with you on this one. Okay, so they may say, well, I see subtraction there. I know the first thing I need to do if I see subtraction is I need to change it to addition so that I'm able to kind of move my stuff around. And so negative 5.2, instead of subtraction, we're changing it to addition, adding its inverse. So the inverse is 3.1 plus 5.2. And so they're going to say the reason that we're going to do that is the subtraction is the same as the additive inverse. Subtracting means you add the additive inverse. And here I'm okay with if you are just describing it to each other. Okay? And then the next person will go. So the person to pink's left is going to go. And so they're going to say, okay, so I see I got a negative 5.2 and a positive 5.2. I want to put those things together because I know they're additive inverses. So negative 5.2 plus 5.2. What tells me I'm allowed to do that is the commutative property, which means I can reorder when there is addition. So the commutative property tells me that we can do that. So telling your team what you're going to do and then why you're allowed to do it. And so then the next person, the person to the left of that, would say, okay, so these two things are equal to 0 because it's an additive inverse, plus 3.1, so additive. And then finally, my answer is 3.1 because 0 plus any number is itself. Okay, so you're just going to describe it. So this was pink. I think it goes orange, yellow, and green. I can't remember. No, pink, yellow, green, and then orange. And so this time, pink is not going to start. It will be the next person, so the person to the left of that. So you're going to rotate to where everybody is having an opportunity, like not everybody is always doing the exact same step. So the person to the left of pink, you're going to start on B. So this is going to be, so the person to the left, I believe it's yellow, is going to start this one. Green, start this one, and orange, you will start this one. Okay, so pause the video and work amongst your group. You've got about 6 minutes. Go ahead. Okay, so let's see. First thing that I would do in this, 32 plus a negative 12 plus negative 7/8, 32 plus a negative 12. So I'm subtracting because they have different signs. And I'm going to have a positive answer, so therefore my answer is going to be 2 minus 0 is 0, 3 minus 20, plus a negative 7/8, so 20 plus a negative 7/8, so I'm taking away 7/8 from that, leaves me with 19, and I only have 1/8 left. Okay? And you can use your number line to help you. We were at a positive 20 and we were going to the left 7/8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8/8. It's 19. So we're going here, we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which puts us right here. So we're at 19 and 1/8, breaking your line into eighths. Okay. Okay, the next one. Let's see, what do I see here? I see subtraction. Subtraction that I know that I want to make into addition. Oops, here we go again. Three and 1/6 plus 20.3, changing subtraction to addition, adding its inverse would be 5 and 5/6. Okay, I see I've got two fractions that are as 6, so I'm going to put them together. So I have 3, and I can do that because it's all addition, 3 and 1/6 plus 5 and 5/6 plus 20.3. So I'm going to break it apart. 3 plus a 6 plus 5 plus 5/6 plus 20.3. Then I'm going to add the 5 and the 3. Associative property, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then add the 1/6 and the 5/6, which is 6, 6 plus 20.3. And then finally we have 9, that's 9 together, plus 20.3. And so then remember you line up your decimals, so that gives me 29.3. That's my final answer. And finally, I've got subtraction and subtraction, so let's make that all into addition. Add the opposite of negative 1.8 is 1.8. Add the opposite, so negative 4.5, not 4.5, 4/5, not the same number at all. So 16/20ths, and then plus 1.8 plus a negative 4/5. So I'm going to get my fractions next to each other. So 16/20ths plus a negative 4/5 plus 1.8. And I can multiply by 4 to make that 20. If I do it to the bottom, I have to do it to the top. So now I've got 16/20ths plus a negative 16/20ths plus 1.8. And together these are an additive inverse, so they equal 0. So then I have 0 plus 1.8, and my final answer is 1.8. Okay. Exercise 3 explains step by step how to arrive at a single rational number to represent the following situation. Show both the written explanation and the related math for each step. So we've been working, either I was doing it, you were working with a group. So now it is time for you to try this one on your own. So pause the video, try it on your own. Okay, so since Pink, I technically did yours for you, I would like you to share how you did yours first. And remember, if Pink needs help, or if anybody ever needs help, that you can provide them assistance. Not necessarily tell them how to do it, but give them some hints of maybe what the first step they should do is. Okay, so we have, Pink, pause the video, Pink, give your explanation, and then resume the video to double check yourselves. Okay, so the way that I did it is I did a negative 24. I saw that we had subtraction twice, so I needed to change it to addition so that I basically could do most things here. So the opposite of a subtraction is addition. Add the opposite, so we're adding a half. The opposite of subtraction is addition. Add the opposite, so we're adding a negative 12.5. Okay. Again, we can put parentheses around it if it makes you happy. Okay, so then you might change your fraction half to 0.5. So first thing, changed subtraction to addition. Next, changed fraction to decimal. Okay. Next, what do I want to do next? I'm gonna do the 24 plus the negative 12.5. Whoops, negative 12.5. So I'm gonna reorder it. I feel like that's just gonna be easiest for me. It's not, you don't have to necessarily have done that. So that was, I changed the order. So commutative order changed. Okay, as long as you know that you can do these things, what it's called is not as important as being able to do it. Okay, so then we have negative 24 and a negative, so the signs are the same, so we're adding. So just do it over here so you can see it. 24 plus 12.5. Remember, line up your decimals. A decimal would be here with a 0. So then we're getting 36.5, a negative 36.5 plus 0.5. These signs are different, so you're subtracting. So then we're taking away 2.5, and we're left with 36. 5 minus 5 is 0. Okay, so how are the properties of operations helpful? It's helpful to be able to rearrange it. Sometimes you want to put your fractions that are similar next to each other. Sometimes you want to change your fractions to decimals. And so it makes it easier to not always have to have a calculator. In these, it was our fractions and our decimals, they went well together to make our answers a little more simple. And so sometimes that does work, and it doesn't always work. But we wanted to get more practice with decimals, fractions, rational numbers, and seeing the math properties that you're allowed to do to be able to practice and use them more often. Okay? Have a good day.